Well, hello. My name is Karl-Johan Speak. I'm a Power Automate MVP, and this is the beginner's guide to make Power Automate cloud flows. Let's begin.
How to start with the basics when creating Power Automate cloud flows. Start going to the URL make.powerautomate.com. You need to have basic license, so if you can use Outlook or Teams, then you can create the basic cloud flows. Once you get to the home site, you can also start creating here, but I suggest that you go to the My Flows section on the left. Then start creating a new flow. You can use ready-made templates. There are lots of different templates which you can build. So if you choose a ready-made template, the solution will build the actions and triggers for you. But in our demo, we will create a flow from scratch. Let's have a flow that triggers from filling out a form. So in our case, we want to have Microsoft Forms. And let's create some basic form, for example. So let's have a form called demo form for participation, and let's ask the name, and then let's have a question: participate event N, and the options are yes, no, and maybe we want to collect something more info. And let's say that the name is required and participation is wanted. And we want that anyone can respond. So for example, if we are collecting responses from some event and we want to share the link to our friends, let's say anyone can respond. Now the form is ready. Let's take the form URL. This is what the others will see. And now we go back to the creating the Power Automate flow. We create the new flow and from blank. And since we want to trigger it from the filling up the form, we call it's an automated cloud flow. We could also trigger the flow from when you receive an email, when you save some file to your OneDrive, but in our case we want to start it once a new response is submitted. We will select it as a trigger and we give some kind of name. And then we click create. The first action in the flow is called trigger. It's what triggers the form. By clicking it with the right button, we can delete it. We can add any trigger as we want. And you can see here are different kinds of triggers. And if there's this diamond, it means a premium, so you will need the premium license. But in our example, we will go with the Microsoft Forms, which is the basic trigger. And it's when a new response is submitted. It doesn't have any existing connection, so we click new, then we click sign in. It gives us a pop-up. We will log in and now we can pick the form we want to have. So we have this demo form and it's selected. All of these actions have outputs. We know that now we need the responses, what the user has said in the form. So we want to have forms action, get response details. And let's use this connection we already built. We have to again give which form we are using, and then we need the response ID. What is the response ID? The response, the inputs, the parameters which goes into each action, you can use the outputs from previous actions. You can get them by clicking this flash here. So we can see the previous here, and it gives only one output, which is the response ID. Great. Now we have simple flow and we can already save it. But maybe we want to do something for this flow. Something wrong with the connection. I change the next one. Now it's working. So let's create a condition. It's under the controls and it's condition. Condition means that you have some kind of condition. If something equals something, and if it's true, it goes to the left side box, and if it's not true, it goes to the right side box. And then you can add different actions inside that. When it's true, you do something. If it's false, it does something else. So in this basics, let's go that we have outputs from the get response details. We have the information, the output that is the person participating to the event. And we can check here that the choices are yes or no. So let's say yes. So if the user has checked the yes parameter, it goes to the left side, and if the user has selected something else, it goes to the right side. Let's save it. And my point is that usually when you are building this kind of stuff, you should test it when you are building it. So don't build it until the end. When you have some logic or something ready there, then test it. And the testing is happening by clicking this test button. And since we have no previous runs, we want to start the testing manually. We click the manually and the test button. And now it's in the testing mode. And let's go and type something. My name is Kalle, and I will participate, and I want low lactose milk, and submit. Now I go back to the testing side, and I see visually how it goes through. If there's a green check mark, it means that it has successfully went it through. If I click the first action, it gives the inputs and outputs what has gone there. This is quite gibberish, we don't understand it, but if we go to the next one, we can see that the outputs are here. We can see the name was Kalle, the selection was yes, and the extra information was I want low lactose milk. When I click the condition, I see that the result is true. Someone has clicked, they want to participate, and for example, I could then add an action that sends myself an email or Teams message telling that, hey, Kalle is participating to this event. And in the false case, we could also collect people's names that who are not participating in the event. This is the most basic scenario. How do you start building Power Automate flows and create conditions there? And once the flow is saved, it's actually working already. So if I send another form, let's say Dave doesn't come there, submit, and let's make third one. Matthew is coming. I try from far because there's a long way from far. how do I see how my flow has managed to go through with these? Go back to the make.powerautomate.com. If you start from the start, go to My Flows, then locate your flow, and here you can see the flow runs. So the first one was our testing, and the 2 seconds are those I filled afterwards. So let's check the second one. If I get the response details, I can see that it's Dave and it's no, and the condition was false. And it looks a bit strange because it went to the old editor. I want to go to the new editor. Let's try again. The new editor is available when you're editing it, and if I want to retest, I can automatically use a recently used trigger. It was the middle one. Let's go and test it. Now I can see the flow run in this new editor view. Thank you for following these basic instructions to get started with Power Automate Flow, which is processing form responses.